let's get into the muck here. We're getting into the muck. All right, y'all. So there was some very, very fun and enjoyable, exchanges on Twitter.com over the last 30 hours maybe. And it all starts. I'm telling a story here, and I've got my own take on it. So it all starts with Max Blumenthal walking around Washington, D.C., presumably, and harassing Ro Khanna. So this is where the story begins. So the GrayZone tweeted this video out. Congress screws workers to escalate war on Russia. Max Blumenthal questions lawmakers on the rising cost to Americans of sanctioning Russia and the massive package of arms they authorized for Ukraine. So here he is walking around Ro Khanna. Now, Ro Khanna responds in the video. And then he tweets, and the tweet he makes actually is what spawned this giant, it's very fun. This is very, very enjoyable. And so anyway, let's start this. Let's watch this video. Ro Khanna looks very upset here. Anyway, let's listen.
Prices are already going up massively because of the sanctions. Inflation's going up, and that's all to fight Russia. I mean, that's the message Biden and his people are sending.
So first of all, inflation and gas prices are not going up because of Russia. Now again, the United States banned imports on Russian oil. That doesn't have an effect overnight, right? So that's just not a thing. Another aspect of this is what's really causing these price hikes is corporations price gouging Americans. They're taking advantage of the news. And they're just artificially raising prices. It has nothing to do with that. I mean, now again, is it related in some abstract context, where everything is related to everything? Absolutely. But to say that gas prices are skyrocketing because of Russia, I personally just disagree, because they've been steadily rising in price for the last 6 months. So I'm just saying. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Don't you think? I mean, do you think Americans? What skin in the game do Americans have for Ukraine?
Americans have the skin in the game to stand up for freedom, to stand up for human rights. We've always done that as a nation, and we. So
now this is again. I want to say I'm not here to defend Ro Khanna. His answer's not so good. America has skin in the game to stand up for freedom. I wish, like we've always done. Ask the 1 million plus Iraqi civilians how they feel, that have been murdered by the U.S. occupation and invasion. Ask them how they feel about, us bringing freedom and democracy. So again, if the United States was actually bringing freedom and democracy all across the world, that'd be cool. But that's not happening, right? That's just there's no evidence of that happening. Now I will also say that theoretically, this could be a springboard for the United States to stop being an evil, disgusting imperial superpower that's based around murdering innocent civilians across the planet, right? It would be great. It would be wonderful if this was the thing, that Russia's the big bad guy or whatever, and then the U.S. becomes, super cool and they start saving the world or something, like a comic book. Wouldn't that be great? I would love that. I'm skeptical of whether or not that's going to happen. But either way, it is undeniable. It is undeniable that the United States has a horrible history when it comes to bringing freedom and democracy around areas. So I just want to say, bad answer so far.
Want to make sure that we stand up for Europe and NATO, and we stand up to bullies. I mean, people see on television Putin killing children, killing mothers. I mean, it's horrific. And we as an American...
So, now, I just want to say, Max Blumenthal's garbage. Now, obviously, full stop. But standing up to bullies, Putin killed children. Yeah, well, last year, after, again, so there was an Afghanistan war. Biden pulled out of the war. After pulling out of the war, there was a drone strike that killed 7 kids in Afghanistan. A U.S. drone strike that killed 7 kids. So I'm just saying, as far as killing children is concerned, not only that, but what's going on in Yemen and other places, right? So the United States, not so good on the track record of treating children with respect. And so I just want to say, not so good. Now, I wish Ro Khanna would have given a better answer here, but also, he's not He's not like Ro Khanna is not like a fucking super anti-war. Like his family is invested in war companies, right? So that's a problem.
Okay, we are the greatest nation in the world. We've always stood up for freedom. We stand up for human rights.
So raising inflation and raising oil prices for freedom.
I don't think that's connected. I think the reason that people are paying $5 at the pump and $6 at the pump is because these big oil companies are profiting billions of dollars.
Prices.
So now the important part here. This is the important part. And, you know, they cut this part close here. I wish Ro Khanna... Now, this is the good answer. This is what I was saying before. These sanctions, like oil and gas prices were increasing steadily over the last year, especially over the last 6 months. Right? So, the idea, like, the sanctions, they're going to take advantage of it. Inflation, they're going to take advantage of it. But the problem is corporate greed. So, anyway, Max Blumenthal... This is part one of the story. This is just part one of the story. So, in part two... Ro Khanna tweets about this. So Ro Khanna, now this is a deleted tweet, so I had to like look around for a screenshot of this tweet because Ro Khanna has since deleted this tweet. But again, this is part one of the saga. The far left's refusal to condemn the immoral and illegal Putin invasion is appalling. It is nihilistic relativism. Okay, I stand by my words, and this is change and reject Max Blumenthal and RT talking points where he's a contributor. I have human rights, progressive approach to FP. So this is the big problem. So this is where it starts. So again, I wanted to play the full context for y'all. Now we're getting into the real story here. Now this is where it gets fun. Okay, so Ro Khanna, as of this point, has deleted this tweet. So he did get backlash. He did get pushback. He has deleted the tweet. Okay, so I just want to be very fair to Ro Khanna here. He has since deleted the tweet. But the idea of calling Max Blumenthal far left is ridiculous. People have this, like, people that aren't far... I'm a far leftist. I consider myself the furthest left possible. If someone wants to debate me on any policy, on any position, on any, like, facts or whatever, any prescriptions for policy... I guarantee you I'm as far left as you could possibly get. I am not a liberal by any stretch. I am not a social democrat. I'm a communist. I'm an anarchist. I am the furthest left possible. Suck my dick, bitch. But anyway, Max Blumenthal is not an example of that kind of person. Max Blumenthal is an anti-US propagandist. Now, again, I'm not even saying that propaganda is necessarily bad. I think propaganda for good things is a good thing. I think I want positive propaganda for universal health care programs. I want positive propaganda for ending the capitalist structure of society. I love and enjoy and cherish good propaganda. So I'm not using the term propaganda to necessarily be bad. But what he does is he does propaganda against the U.S. government. Now, again, the U.S. government has a big track record of being garbage. So most of the time when Max Blumenthal is talking about the U.S. government being garbage, he's usually right on the money. Let's be honest. Let's be real. But now we're in this new, situation with Russia invading Ukraine where just the blanket, bizarre, anti-U.S. talking points have gotten out of hand. Now, to be clear, Max Blumenthal has been out of hand for a long time. This guy, again, his obsession with Russia's perspective on foreign policy, his whole thing is like, well, the U.S. is bad, right? So therefore, Russia criticizing the U.S. is good. Therefore, Russia's the good guy. Therefore, defending Russia's invasion of Ukraine. I don't know. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Okay, it's crazy. But again, to call that far left is just ridiculous. Far leftists are against war. Far leftists are not just only against war when the United States does it. But the big thing here that caused a discussion online that I wanted to wade into, I don't know, is the fact that Ro Khanna called Max Blumenthal far left. He is not a far leftist. This guy is a right-winger. He's anti-vax. Max Blumenthal is anti-vax, anti-Medicare for all. He's anti-public health. He is against, a lot of very regular, left-wing policies. He promotes working with neo-Nazis. It's just, he's a very problematic guy. The GrayZone is just typically garbage. But I want to say here, okay, the far left's refusal to condemn the immoral and illegal invasion, Putin invasion, is appalling. This is not something that has to do with the far left. What this is are right-wingers getting paid to LARP as left-wingers. So that's what this is. This is a problem that I have been on top of since the Force the Vote thing started. in December of 2020. It was very clear that there was like a dividing, like after the Democratic primary, it was very clear that there were a lot of left-wingers that aren't actually left-wingers, but they utilized like, the Bernie campaign and other progressive campaigns to kind of launch their branding exercises to pretend to be left-wingers, but they're actually just right-wingers or weirdo freaks. And that's the situation with Max Blumenthal. He's obviously been paid to be a weirdo freak. So anyway, I know this is a long recap here, and now we're finally getting into another fun part of the story. So, Nomiki Konst tweets about this with a possible policy prescription and engages in an online Twitter battle with David Griscom and Matt Leck from the Left Reckoning show. And this is where it gets good. So Nomiki says, at what point is Congress going to look into these paid propagandists here to disrupt the left and push fascist conspiracies? Some of the funding has shown up on tax returns being funneled through journalism awards by Assadists. These guys are toxic and spreading disinfo. So now again, I want to be very clear. What she originally does is she quote tweets Ro Khanna talking about the far left. Now again, Ro Khanna deleted that tweet. So I believe he deleted the tweet because he realized that he probably shouldn't have used that term. But either way, the reflex to call anyone that you think might be a leftist, the far left, in the centrist posturing thing is just dumb. It's just dumb. In my opinion, we should not let these people claim the mantle of far left. And Nomiki basically, says that spot on. These people are not leftists. They are paid propagandists. Again, a lot of these people have been literally funded almost exclusively by Russian networks. And it's a huge problem. So anyway, David Griscom responds to this. Now, again, I just want to, this is just really fun. I'm we're channeling the progressive voice here. So let's just go in. Jesus Christ. You want to encourage Congress to investigate journalists and media operations that they don't like in this climate? When the White House is publicly condemning DSA and anti-war activists? That's not just wrong. It's dangerous. So, in my opinion, this is an overreaction to what Nomi is saying. In my opinion, right, the fact that Ro Khanna, someone who's supposedly on the left flank of Congress, now again, he's not like a squad member, but he likes to fashion himself as a progressive. Okay, these people should understand something about the media landscape that helps get them elected, in my opinion. Right? Like, there are people that are like in left-wing spaces that are clearly agent provocateurs, and it's weird that not that many people realize that outside of these spaces. Like, people love to consider someone like Jimmy Dore a far leftist. Jimmy Dore's not a far leftist. He's a right-wing sycophant, right? So again, we need to understand, like, all Nomi is asking for here is that people in Congress that supposedly represent the left know that these are not leftists, right? Like, so that's basically all she's asking for. But David Griscom overreacts, in my opinion. But let's continue reading. No. This is about money laundering. You think it's okay for Eurasian-aligned oligarchs to be funding disinformation? It's not about reporting. There isn't any, to be honest. It's about oligarchs weaponizing these entities. And again, I feel like these folks are having two different conversations here. So I don't want to like necessarily cast any aspersions on David here per se, but I feel like they're just having two different conversations. Yeah, Nomiki, if you think the U.S. fucking Congress is a good group to start searching for disinformation or money laundering, you are dead wrong. This is the shit that gets anti-war voices put in prison. Now, I want to be very clear on this anti-war thing. Now, again, I consider myself anti-war. I think everyone is anti-war. I think most people, I mean, yes, maybe some people that have directly benefited in weapons manufacturing are pro-war, right? But most people here are anti-war. But to say that, like, we're talking about the context of Max Blumenthal, right? Like, why David Griscom feels the need to bring in, like, all anti-war activists on the subject of Max Blumenthal is bizarre to me. Someone who's clearly supporting Putin's invasion of Ukraine, right? If you want to talk about anti-war, people in a different context, that's great. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Max Blumenthal. We're talking about GrayZone. We're talking about these people that have literally been documented to accept foreign money. And it's not necessarily a problem to accept foreign money, but it's a problem when you accept foreign money and then whoopsie-doopsie, you're all completely aligned with all of the foreign money's talking points, right? So Nomiki then responds, so question, do you believe Congress should do anything about big tech? Have you given up on government? I don't understand your point. Tech is a weapon right now being used by wealthy interests. Just throw your hands up. David then responds, do what about big tech? Not only is the initial call ridiculous, but these vague terms, do something about big tech, stop your Asian money laundering, are very worrying when you are calling for the government to do something about outfits you don't like. Now, again, this is another problem here about outfits you don't like, is I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't watch David Griscom and Matt Leck's show. I stopped watching at a certain point in 2020, to be honest. So I don't know what their stances are on this kind of stuff, but this isn't an outfit that you don't like. It's one thing, like if I don't like someone and I think they're an honest actor, that's a different thing between someone who's getting money getting paid by a foreign government that is currently invading another sovereign country and then repeating that foreign government's talking points. That is a different thing, right? Dishonest actors versus honest actors, that we need to draw a line somewhere. Max Blumenthal and the GrayZone are not honest actors just getting it wrong. If someone on YouTube who has got 7 subscribers, who fell for Force the Vote but no one knows who they are, and they're just dumb, right? And they're blogging about how Putin's cool or something. Should we send the government to investigate no, right? They're just wrong. They're an honest actor. They're just wrong, and they're being manipulated. And that's a problem. But when you have outlets like the GrayZone or Jimmy Dore, those are not honest actors. Those are dishonest actors. So again, it's not about disagreeing with them. It's not about, I don't like those outfits. It's that they are dishonest actors, and that is something that we need to have a broader conversation about. So then Nomiki says, there have been literally dozens of hearings on all these things, non-transparent algorithms, Bannon's working with Dugin and oligarchs backing their work. You act like this isn't in the ether already. So now again, then there's another part. Then David Griscom's co-host Matt Leck gets involved. So this is fun. I feel like I'm TMZ right now. This is great. Now I want to say Nomiki has one of the best positions that I've seen. Outside of myself, obviously, I'm right on everything, and I have groundbreaking commentary and everything. But as far as me, which of course I'm right on everything, Nomiki has one of the best points when it comes to how tech is being used and manipulated by the wealthy. Now, this is something that I've said for a while. Now, look at the capitalist hellhole that we live in, right? A lot of people, right, like Jimmy Dore, for example, right? A lot of people are used to just, streaming and getting paid to stream. And, when people do say and do certain things and they get a lot of money for it in the streaming world, they're more likely to say and do those things, right? So that's the Jimmy Dore thing, right? So Jimmy Dore got paid by a lot of people to start supporting Tulsi Gabbard and stuff like that. He completely turned his back on the Medicare for All movement. And then he started getting paid to pretend to be in favor of Medicare for All. He started getting paid to do the Force the Vote stuff. And when I say getting paid, I mean a bunch of mostly right-wingers paid him to be a douchebag, right? And that's what's going on with the GrayZone as well. Right-wingers, right, and foreign governments like Putin, right, and the Kremlin, and also rich right-wingers like Steve Bannon and so forth. They give these people money, right? Now again, this is you don't need to have the fucking tax receipts to see this stuff. You just see the talking points. Why is it that Jimmy Dore's talking points align 1-to-1 with Putin, align 1-to-1 with Steve Bannon? It's interesting. And if they're not aligned, then why doesn't Jimmy Dore comment on that? Why doesn't he change his positions, right? So we need to understand that people are watching this. People see the power of left media when it comes to AOC getting elected. AOC would not have been elected without left-wing media, right? So people have seen, there are rich people that pay attention to this stuff. They see the power of left-wing media. So what they do is they pay a bunch of people and try to, cause this division, to cause people to hate each other, to basically destroy the left movement. And that's been happening all throughout forever. That's been happening forever. So anyway, Nomiki just she points that out a lot. And she does a really good job at doing so. And again, we're talking about Max Blumenthal here. We're not talking about someone that we disagree with. We're who's an honest actor. This isn't a noble disagreement among friends. We're talking about the GrayZone. This is why this whole argument is so bizarre. But anyway, Matt Leck responds, this is I don't know, man. This is snitch culture, in the thousands of rankings. Why would you quote tweet publicly a friend saying, why did you like this tweet that was critical? This is I don't know, man. This is so fucking silly to me. I can't, but I'm commenting on it anyway because it's entertaining. Why did you like this tweet? Are we being laundered Eurasian oligarch money, or is this just jokes to you? Like the fact that Matt and Nomi, who are apparently friends, I assume that they're friends, they work on the same shows, right? Like, why is this in public? Why is this happening, like, in public? I don't know. It's just strange. It's weird for me. It's just really weird to watch. But I'm doing my TMZ progressive voice style breakdown. Let me be aggressively clear. I'm not happy with oligarch spending on media, Eurasian or otherwise, but the solutions you propose are short-sighted. So Nomiki liked an obvious joke tweet. Sounds like someone's worried about his Wagner group rubles dying up. With an emoji. Like, this is not something you tweet publicly about a friend. I'm sorry. Like, if my friend was like, I don't know. It's weird. This is weird to me. I don't know. I'm just saying. It's strange. But, to me, I read this as a joke. Okay? But whatever. So then Matt continues, beyond the idea we'd empower Congress to investigate disruption of the left, let me say, Nomiki, I 100% am more concerned about the total effect of anti-left neo-McCarthyites you speak for than I am people being exposed to several outlets transparently favorable to Putin. So then we have this, this is fucking, Brian is, getting involved in the discourse. I'm sorry, man, but this is great. This is amazing. Why is this happening? I don't know. Also, isn't, like, Matt Lech on vacation in, like, fucking Spain or some shit? Didn't he say that? Isn't this guy supposed to be enjoying his fucking vacation? So anyway, then Matt, posted a tweet from Brian, #gettingdown, saying, at Nomiki, how much time have David Griscom and Matt Lech spent covering Bannon and Dugan on Left Reckoning? I have a feeling about as much as Rising, Breaking Points, Bad Faith, Useful Idiots, and Red Scare have around 0 minutes, too busy marxing. Now again, if you don't know who this person is, Brian, he gets very deeply involved in the Twitter drama, and I enjoy it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be real. A lot of people don't like Brian. I like Brian. I enjoy the beef. It's fun. It's fun for me to watch as an entertainment piece. This is extremely fun, and it's good criticism. Left Reckoning should be discussing this subject more, and they shouldn't be afraid of it. I'm just saying, like, they should, yes, they should be, discussing it more, but, that's just my opinion, so I agree with Brian on this one. But anyway, the anti-left neo-McCarthyites you speak for, I don't, like, is Brian an anti-left neo-McCarthyite? This sounds like something that, like, fucking... This literally sounds like Aaron Mate. Like, I 100% am more concerned about the total effect of the anti-left neo-McCarthyites you speak for than I am people being exposed. Like, what is Matt, like, on? Is he doing drugs or something in Spain and, like, he, like, forgot that this is the real world? I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is, but it's very interesting, so let's keep going. McCarthyism was about communism, let's be clear, and that is not me. You have some... and that is not me. Like, that's, like, also, McCarthy was originally about fascism and communism. So then Nomiki says, as my mentor... So anyway, so this is, that's irrelevant. I don't know why any of this was publicized, but I found it really funny. And so my grand takeaway here, so now that I've given you all of the scoops, all of the drama, all of the drams, now it's time for my takeaway. You ready? Now, again... The biggest brain, let's be honest, right? The biggest brain in the world, right here. Okay, so first of all, social media, right? Twitter is a bad website. Twitter promotes the idea that you react. It's an inherently, fundamentally reactionary website. The way Twitter works, like, why did Matt Lech decide to quote tweet Nomiki instead of DMing her? Why was that decision made? Oh, for the likes, for the dopamine rush of getting the likes, for the discourse, because David Griscom got involved and he's defending his co-host or whatever against another co-host. But why is any of this public? This could all have been solved with a Zoom call. Like, they could have all gotten on the phone together and had this conversation. But why was it done in public? It's because social media is garbage. People, when you only have X amount of characters, you can't, like, write a book about all the caveats and all the nuances, right? And so there's a lot of missing context. So Nomiki was talking about Max Blumenthal in the GrayZone. Then David Griscom, for whatever reason, decided to make a broader, conversation about, like, just, oh, well, what if they did this against anti-war voices? Like, what? I mean, we're talking about the GrayZone, dude. Like, unless you're saying that the GrayZone is an anti-war voice or an outlet, I don't even know. It's strange. It's strange. So, like, every layer. Now, notice how there's, like, so many tweets here, right? So, I did this whole multi-part story. Every layer of this is more context removed, right? So, this is the original, right? Ro Khanna is being harassed on the street by the GrayZone, right? And then Ro Khanna tweets about it, and then Nomi tweets about it, right? And then David responds, and then Matt responds. Every single layer, there's missing context. Context is being removed, and then new people are being introduced to the conversation of various steps. Now, this is what creates Twitter being a horrible website, is people, they jump in the conversation, they don't read all of the context, and they just don't know what the fuck's being discussed. They just don't know what the fuck anyone's talking about. But then everyone wants to get involved, and then the dopamine rush of getting the likes. Again, why quote tweet this? And also, who cares if Nomi likes a random joke tweet? Who cares? Who cares? Like, I mean, seriously. Who cares? This is so embarrassing. And I just want to say, like, to me, my reading of this is Nomi pretty much owns everyone here, but you know. Like, what is the concept of an own? Like, why does someone need to own on Twitter for, I don't know, like, the whole thing is just, it's so demented, utterly. But again, yes, should Congress know more about big tech, the government, money laundering, through social media? Yes, they should know more. Do I necessarily trust the government to handle those things effectively? No. Now, again, I don't think that Nomi or David or Matt, or I don't think any of them disagree with each other. It's just that they're all having separate conversations. They're all having separate fucking conversations, and it's very frustrating to watch. It really is. But again, I just want to say, note, by the way, that all of these people, supposedly friends, are yelling at each other on Twitter because the GrayZone said some stupid shit to Ro Khanna, and Ro Khanna called the GrayZone far left. Like, I just want, like, let's zoom out and look at the context that started all this. I mean, it's pretty factually true that Putin would want to invest money in destroying anti-war movements and destroying left-wing movements, that American billionaires and oligarchs would want to invest money in destroying left-wing movements, and this is how you do it. This is how you do it. Right, because social media is already a part of everyone in this culture's brain, right? They don't know how to communicate with each other because the way social media works is it overwrites your ability to speak like a normal person, right? You cannot speak like a normal person on social media, right? So then you forget how to do that. You forget that, oh, right, this is the person that I've known for 10 years and I've worked with for like a long time, right? You just forget that. Oh, I've been, so you just forget, oh, this is a real human being that I'm talking to. And like the snitch, like I mean, like the snitch tweeting, this is so embarrassing to me. But anyway, the grand thing is, yes, should Congress know what the fuck they're talking about? Absolutely. And I think that's really what the crux of what Nomiki is saying. Congress should know better. Ro Khanna should know better than to call someone like Max Blumenthal far left. The guy's clearly an agent provocateur, and that's obvious by now. People should know that. And so, I don't know, man. People just love to have their, like, grandiose, like, people love to misinterpret. People love to strip context away from things. It's fascinating to me. It's fascinating. Like, I don't even disagree with Matt or David. I don't think that the U.S. government is the best suited to decide who and who isn't disinformation outlets. That said, they should be investigating. They should be doing their best. We should have people in Congress that are capable of figuring this stuff out and having well-reasoned takes on them. We should have, and that's what we should advocate for, and that's what Nomi is advocating for. Right? It's not like, the idea that, like, Nomi is going to say Congress should investigate where the GrayZone is getting money from, and then they're going to have, like, Ted Cruz lead the investigation and then declare left-reckoning disinformation. Like, I don't know what future that these people are thinking is going to happen. But anyway, all I wanted to do was comment on this because, again, social media is a mind virus. It rips people apart, and it's a context remover. Again, every layer of quote tweeting is removing context. Yes, quote tweeting is about retaining context. Kurt in the chat, I thought the point of quote tweeting was to retain context by including the original tweet. Am I wrong? That's the point, maybe. But when you see a quote tweet, are you really going to look in, read all of the thread? And again, also note that in this tweet, Ro Khanna's tweet was deleted, right? So now the quote tweet chain has been broken, right? So the context just gets further and farther away. And the more farther and further away it gets, the less likely the average person is going to read all of the context. And so they're just like yelling at each other about stupid shit that doesn't matter at all. Like none of this matters at all. They pretty much agree completely. It's just that it's whiny garbage. And then this tweet, I'm sorry, like, you know, I typically like Matt Leck, but this is like the worst tweet I've ever seen in my life. Like publicly quote tweeting, like making a big fight. Hey, Nomi, why did you like this tweet? Like, bro, please shut the fuck up. It's a joke. Settle down. Please settle down. Like, isn't Matt Lett on vacation? Like, bro, like, enjoy your fucking vacation. Like, sip on a fucking alcoholic drink while you're fucking, like, floating in a pool on an inflatable tube thing or something. Like, fucking, like, why are you, like, it's so strange to me. It's so strange. But anyway, I just wanted to say, I think what Nomi was advocating for got lost in the sauce. And that's unfortunate because she has a very good point. People should be, whether it's Congress, whether or not it's Congress, people in Congress should be able to understand what's going on. People in Congress, like it's one thing for a right-winger to call Putin a communist because they don't know jack shit about anything. But someone who claims to be a left-winger or a progressive like Ro Khanna should understand the difference between the gray zone and the actual far left. They should understand what these words mean. And I think it's a good thing to push people that are progressive in that direction. It's good that Nomi is trying to get Ro Khanna to understand what the gray zone is. That's a good thing. And it seems that Ro Khanna got the message because he deleted his tweet. So I'm just saying, that's a good thing. We should be pushing the people in Congress that represent us, the squad, so-called progressive caucus members, right? We should be pushing them to learn more about left-wing media, left-wing ideology, what people actually want, how to discern between disinformation outlets, so forth, right? And so that's a good thing. I don't know why like David and Matt are so against that, but I'm going to assume it's just misinformation. But it's very fun to watch. Anyway, what was this, a 30-minute segment? Classic. Another one, another banger. Another goddamn banger? Yeah! So anyway,